I'm gonna take everybody all the way back to one that I used to like to hear at the skate ring for listening to. We're JJ Fad and we're here to rock.
Please understand that everything I say on social media, I would actually say aloud.
But we love to laugh about things like that. But then that's somebody else's life becoming my entertainment. Because we should practice this. Hi, Brandy. Happy Sunday. Welcome to our listening audience. We are here today on We Listen and We Judge to talk about resiliency. So, you want to start it off, Brandy?
Because your topic that you came out with, so it's probably good for you to start off.
Okay. Well, in the news now, you hear a lot about bullying from other kids, bullying from adults, adults bullying kids, kids bullying adults. Just bullying is just this big catch-all phrase for everything that everybody's doing face to face and on the internet. And is it really? It's the question that we're asking today. What is bullying for real? Because if we overuse it or cry wolf a lot, then when there really is a situation that needs to be addressed, people will be so over the terminology that it's not investigated properly or something is done about it the way it needs to be done. So let's just talk about um, what bullying is not. So, childhood picking, your nose is big, your skin is black, this, that, and the third. Kids do those things. They learn it at home most of the time or from other family members or from other kids in the neighborhood. And they come to school thinking it's cute to call each other black, to pick at each other's hair, just talk about each other in general because it's supposed to be quote unquote funny. Well, where does childhood picking end and bullying begin? And I think that's a topic for discussion to determine like how do we teach our kids which is which and what to do about it. And so I've looked at some series on building resilient kids, and I think that would help children now and into adulthood when people are quote unquote talking about you. How do you respond to that? Should you respond to that? Does it even matter? So what do we do to build that resiliency so that it doesn't matter? And I don't want to confuse this with telling kids to get over it, you'll bounce back to the point where they don't get the support that they need. So don't confuse building their resiliency with thinking that they can just withstand anything and have any kind of misfortunate stress in their life because that's not true either. Like as parents, we do have to protect our kids from some things and we need to figure out what those things are. But I am talking about setbacks or things that shouldn't damage you permanently. So for example, when I was younger, my skin tone was a thing. My sister's skin tone was a thing. Two of us had brighter skin, two of us had darker skin. And it was why y'all so black? And then, when we tell our mom, she was like, yeah, they call me old black Evelyn Harvey when I was young too. And then the way we learned to deal with it is, yeah, I'm gonna be black tomorrow. I'm gonna be black tonight, tomorrow, next week, and it's okay. So just teaching your kids, don't let words like that hurt you. Is your skin tone dark? Yes. And is it okay? Absolutely. The darker, the more beautiful. And just teach them how to bounce back from those types of things and don't let that define you and make you feel less than a person, less than who you are as a person because somebody's talking about your skin tone. Your hair, kids call you nappy head and this, that, and the third. But be happy to be nappy. And parents, let's teach our kids, this is the hair that God gave you. This is the crown that He put on your head. How can you celebrate it? How can you love your hair, whether it's tangled up, whether it's straight? And we used to buy into it too because we put perms in our kids' heads. We put perms in our own heads. And then we had to learn, is straight hair the beauty standard? No, let's be resilient about how we feel about ourselves. This is the hair that grows out of my head. I'm going to wear my hair. I'm going to be proud of my hair. And so just teaching kids how to manage picking in healthy ways so that they learn that this doesn't define me. This is not bullying. This is just kids picking because that's what they do. Do they have to do it? Should they do it? No. But as a parent, you can teach your child how to navigate it and how to respond appropriately to it. And so I think building resilient kids comes in several things like how to manage adversity, how to deal with what is quote unquote often called bullying, but not necessarily just picking and being ignorant to how to celebrate differences. That's really what it is we're ignorant to anything that's not like us, anybody who's not just like us. And if a person dresses differently or wear their hair differently, then it has to be something wrong, right? So parents teaching their children it's okay for people to look different, for us to wear our hair differently, for us to dress differently. You don't have to have the latest Nikes to be an important person. Like most of the time, that's a waste of money. Anyway, it costs $5 to make those Nikes that they want us to pay $120 for. So just having those conversations, developing your child's ability to adapt to changes, to recover from setbacks, and to manage stressful situations in healthy ways. And like I said, that doesn't mean let them be abused or misused, but it does mean those simple things where something somebody says causes you to feel a certain way about yourself, teaching them how not to let what people have to say define them, because you'll learn that in your adulthood, it will take you a long way if you learn that in your childhood. So, your thoughts?
I do agree, but I also do disagree. I do think the intent is to bully when people say those things. Like the intent is to harm somebody and make them feel less than, but I don't think that it always has to be met with, such extremity, because if you kinda, like you said, navigate it, and honestly, how I manage people talking bad about me is I would talk bad about them too. It's not necessarily right, it's basically fighting fire with fire, but if you're gonna talk about me, let's talk about, well, what you got going on and why you can't bring, you know, different things that most people have that you should. Like, I think I was a little bit harsh. Now that I look back at it, when somebody said something to me, I was really one of those people like that brought a gun to a knife fight. And you said something I didn't like, I really would go in. And it ended up like several times where people wanted to fight and stuff like that. But I do think it is, in my opinion, because I've been through it, I do think it's you're trying to bully me, but I'm not going to allow you to do it. Like, to be honest, I don't like it. I don't see why kids are I do now. I do see now why kids are like that. Like I said, I just think it boils down to their home life being distraught. When you're not happy at home, when your parents can't provide as they should, when you don't have all the necessary needs that you should have and necessary wants. And then if you have parents that are angry themselves and don't give you the attention and love that you need, you're going to come and try to bring vitriol to everybody else's life. Like it is the misery loves company type of thing. But you just do, like you said, have to teach your children important lessons such as loving themselves enough to know when somebody is trying to tear them down. That is the biggest problem. This person is not somebody you should care about, or their words should not mean that much to you. What do you think about yourself? What do you love about yourself? What do you know about yourself? They're calling you a name. Are you going to subscribe to that? Are you going to answer to that? Because that means that's what you think about you. If they're calling you a monkey, are you a monkey? No, so why are you so bothered about it? And kids can be very harsh and very rude. And it is hard as a child to really, understand it. I saw this video from Twitter where a mom was talking about how this little girl, her daughter was playing with this little girl having a good time, and then another little girl came over and told everybody not to play with her, and they did. And I went through that same thing in middle school. Not middle school, we called it intermediate school. It was 4th to 5th grade. It was a girl that just did not like me, and the rest of my friends did not talk to me just because that girl, didn't talk to me. And I didn't have you at the time there because it was during school. So I was literally crying. But after talking to you and, working through it, I realized, okay, this is not somebody I should be even caring about. So I moved forward. Then everybody wanted to talk to me again, and I never forgot that, I'm gonna realize that you guys probably aren't the best friends that I should have, and Imma move on when it's time to move on. But at the time, if I didn't have, like, a mom that, you know, told me, "Why do you care? Who is this girl to even be pressuring you about?" who you are as a person, I probably would have had a bad self-esteem and did crazy stuff like the rest of them. And I'm not necessarily trying to shame them, but like looking at their life, like you didn't have good parents that led you to the right way. And that's why a lot of girls get into these peer pressure situations doing things they have no business doing because they're usually there's this person that's just too far gone. They have a terrible home life and they're just a product of their environment that's influencing everybody else to do it. And usually they use the bullying method. Oh, you're not cool if you don't do this. Oh, you can't be cute if you don't do this. Nobody wants you. Nobody's gonna be this, this, and that. And we just have to really build self-esteem for children. We have to let them know like what's good and what's not good. Who do you want to be? And why do you care if somebody sees you as a different way? So you're making some really good points, but I just do think the intent is to bully. So that's why I see it as bullying.
And I guess definition wise, when bullying comes into play, is to create an imbalance of power, right? And so when adults have to step in, is when there's an imbalance of power happening. Like you can't put your hands on other people's kids and beat on them. You can't constantly verbally abuse them. Like calling me black, I don't feel like it's verbal abuse. Because guess what?
Right.
Yep. Calling my eyes big, that's not verbal abuse because guess what? They're huge. Like, so I think it comes into play when it becomes an imbalance of power. Like when you're doing things to me physically, like if you putting nails in my chair or stabbing me with a pencil or, now yeah, it's physical harm and it's you have taken the balance of power to hurt me. I am hurt at this point. But I think, the sticks and stones can break my bones, but words can never hurt me. You can go so far with it that it does become bullying. But when it's true things like tall, skinny, long, tall Sally and crazy things like, okay, yeah, I'm tall and I'm skinny. Good Lord. I ain't no more. But when when I was in school, yeah, I was.
What you're saying, but that's because like you had somebody that built you up to not care about the words that people say because it's true. That's a fact. But if you are a child that's looked at as bad, that's looked at as wrong, oh, they're saying something bad about me, then you get into these like that's kind of how people become having this eating disorder. It's like all the girls are skinny, all the girls got long blonde hair. Well, I got to change how I look because I'm not fitting in with the group. That's when it is, even though it seems small, if you do not build your child up, it does become bullying because now they think something's wrong with them. And that is a balance of power because it's like you were born this way, but now you feel like you got to change to fit in with the group because the group does not accept you as who you are. But if you don't teach your kid, like, why would you want to fit in with people that don't seem to like you for who you are? Which is something
Absolutely.
you told me as I'm young. Everybody doesn't have the parents that do that. And that's why I
Well, that's
wanted,
the purpose of the conversation in the first
yeah, yeah,
place, is to build resilient kids so that when things like that are occurring, the conversation is had with your child. Hey, let's really talk about this. Let's talk
right,
about what bullying is. Let's talk about what bullying is not. Let's talk about the things that they said that are absolutely true. Okay, like I'm a 4C. My hair is a 4C pattern. If someone says your hair is nappy because, it's hard to get a comb through it or it swells up when I'm in the, humidity or in the rain or whatever. That is the absolute truth. It happens. It absolutely happens. Like, the back of it right now is like a fro, a little bit of a fro. I just straighten the front so it don't look like a fro, but it is absolutely a fro. So if a kid was picking at me about that or saying things about that, it's true. It's a fro. It's nappy. You're right. So, how do we build our kids to be resilient with things like that? So it doesn't become a situation where I'm bleaching or whatever the thing, like you said, like if I'm wearing a wig, it's for me. Well,
mm-hmm.
I don't wear wigs, but I'm just saying. If I
Like,
decide
what?
like, "What are you talking about, mama? You don't even wear
I
wigs."
know,
But if I
exactly.
did, then it should be for me and not because somebody says something about me. Like, the choices I want kids to make is about their personal choices because of who they are and what matters to them,
Well, you know
not
what?
because of who somebody else is and what matters to
Can I
them.
can I say this?
Sure.
I guess it is less bullying and more peer pressure, where they're trying to make you feel a certain way about who you are. I think that's the term for it, peer pressure. So they're trying to pressure you into having low self-esteem or being more acceptable to changing your viewpoints about yourself so they can kind of have a way to influence you when you might not come off as easily influenceable because there are some girls, they see their friend do it, they're gonna go do it too. "Oh, we dressing like this today." I've never been that girl. I find it kinda annoying sometimes when people are always asking me like, "What am I wearing? What am I wearing? What am I wearing?" If we're going to an event together, absolutely, I understand, but if we're just hanging out for brunch, girl, wear what you wanna wear, stop trying to keep up with me. Basically, we are friends, we don't have to be the same person, we don't need to do this, and that. But there are literally girls who want their friends to be the same as them. They can only be friends if we look the same, we attract the same people, everybody think this about us. Is very toxic in my opinion, and it's just peer pressure because they don't understand diversity. Even we give white people flack about it, but I think in reality, there's so many different things we can talk about where people just don't get that it's okay for people to be different. And y'all can still be friends, y'all can still be cool, but you don't have to think the same. Even with money sometimes. Oh, I can only be friends with the baller, shot caller. If you're not doing this, if you're not getting this from a man, you can't be my friend because I only want to hang out with a friend that's getting paid for everything. Like, it's to me, it's okay for people to have differences and not wanna do life the same. If it's not morally corrupt or ethically, unsound, then I'm not, basically nagging you about you having a difference of opinion. There are some things where I draw the line, but it usually has to do with my morals and my values. It's not necessarily about, "Hey, if you like this, I think the phrase is what you eat don't make me, and I agree with that. Like, what I think about certain things is just what I think. There's certain things I do think is too far where if we disagree about it, then we probably can't be as good friends. But other than that, like when it comes to clothes, when it comes to just material things, when it comes to even maybe how we raise our kids, we don't have to do it exactly the same as long as you're not being abusive. So I think what you're saying is actually I wanna take that back. I think it's right. Like, it's not necessarily bullying, it's more around the lines of peer pressure and people trying to make people feel a certain type of way because they feel a way about it.
And I think, like, a lot of the things you talked about, I mean, that's my whole point in the first place, is let's build resilient kids so that, somebody else's opinion of them do not cause them to go off the deep end. Like, if somebody call you fat, don't become bulimic or anorexic because somebody
Yeah.
called you fat. If you're happy with your weight, then be happy with your weight. If you're unhappy with your weight, then let's talk about how we can make healthy changes in order to do something about it, but don't start having these behaviors that's causing you to have unhealthy choices or putting yourself in unhealthy situations because of what somebody else had to say. Like, and I feel like the more we do that when kids are smaller, when they become adults, like it'll be hard for somebody to go on a rant on social media and make you feel any type of way about yourself. Like, you're not talking to me if you're not talking to me. And that's what, we have to teach children.
Even in face-to-face conversations, I just feel like I've had too many times where I've been friends with somebody and something I said rubbed them the wrong way versus like then I realized, okay, well, you said something that applies to me, but I didn't really care. I didn't think it was that deep because I just know myself. I know I don't wanna make it seem as if y'all are, like, the only parents that are good, but I do realize growing up, people really don't have parents that want to raise them, that want to teach them, that want to instill a self-esteem. They kinda have the kids and tell them to fend for themselves.
Well, I don't know. I maybe they just don't know how, and that's why I like that series on building resilient kids. I think it might even be helpful if there's some parent universities on that. I don't know that people would come and participate, but if they would, I think it would be helpful for them to do that because sometimes people just don't know how. Like, they just don't know how to help their kid navigate it. So nobody modeled it for them, and so they don't know really the right things to say and do. I don't think it's from a lack of wanting their kid to have the absolute best. I don't think people wake up in the morning and be like, "Well, I don't want my child to have the best that life has to
Well,
offer." I think they just don't know how to make that happen. And I think one way to help with that is maybe a series on how can we help our children navigate these times where everybody feel like they're being bullied by others? What do we do to build their self-esteem so that the things that people are saying that might even be true, like if somebody called me Bigfoot, yep, I wear a size 11. It's hard to find a shoe. You absolutely right. Like, but it doesn't hurt my feelings because my foot is big. I mean, so how do we teach our kids to navigate those types of things? Some things people really are trying to harm you, and we have to know the difference so that when it's really going that far, before it gets that far, we can um intervene because somebody really is trying to hold power and harm you in a way. And so it has to be a line though between, like you said, peer pressure versus somebody that's actually trying to harm, because action will need to be taken about that. You can't run down everything a kid says about another kid, but you absolutely can keep them from having a power and advantage over them. And so you don't want to cry wolf so much until to the point where it's actually missed when there really is a serious situation that needs to be dealt with. Because there are situations that absolutely need to be dealt with. So don't think that's what I'm saying. Audience, I'm not saying that, because there are kids who are trying to harm each other, and we do have to do something about it as adults. So we got to know the difference as well.
I do also hear some people talk about how their parents are their first bullies. So that's where I also know that everybody don't have the best intentions for their children. And it is a wicked world where people put their kids in abusive situations, are abusive to their children, put them in sexual situations where other adults take advantage of them for money or gain of power. So I guess sometimes every parent don't have the best intentions for their child. And it's sad to see, it's sad to hear, but I just feel so strongly about people being intentional about having children in the first place and
And
not
you're
just
not wrong
wanting
about
to
that.
do it.
I just think for the majority of our listening audience, people who
Yeah,
really are, trying to learn and adapt and do the right thing for their children. So I
yeah,
know there are, several outlier situations like that. And I'm not discounting those, but then they wouldn't be the people we'd be talking to anyway. So that's why I'm saying for those who, really are trying to improve the life of their kid. And they're coming out there all the time. They're coming to the school all the time because they think their kid is being bullied. Those are the people I'm talking about, because they do have to care to be out there all the time, first of all. And
yeah,
so I'm not talking about those situations though that you just mentioned.
yeah. I just thought about that too because it's been like a topic over the last week about certain things, and I just feel parenting is something that you got to do intentionally. You just can't wing it. You just can't say they'll figure it out. I don't think that's right. I think you have to help put your kids in a predicament to succeed in every aspect of life, whether it's socially, emotionally, financially, and physically. It is something that takes more effort than it is waking up and paying the bills. And I think we talked a little bit about that too when it comes to general roles. Like, so I just want people to think twice before they have children because it's not easy just from the outside looking at it. Seeing the mediocre parents, which often happens, and then your child is not progressing in life, complaining about not being able to do this, this, and that. It just comes from not really giving it your best foot forward as a parent. And then there's the point where you can no longer blame your parents. You're now an adult. You have to figure it out on your own. That's a whole nother topic. But it's just so many things that go into being a parent, and I just agree that more like you're saying, more parents just gotta find the tools to help their child succeed.
Yeah, and that's the key. You finding the tools and being willing to engage in the conversation, seeking help. I mean, and it's it never hurts for a parent to say, I don't know what to do. Help me. I mean, that's always something that you could do, especially if there's somebody who is available to help you. And there will always be somebody available to help you if you're willing. There's a lot of good people in this world. They don't advertise their goodness, but it would take a quick conversation for you to realize, yeah, this person will help me if I ask for it.
Yeah. There's something else I wanted to talk about building not just building resilient kids, but also building your kids up to succeed in life. I came across this topic the other day where a lot of parents was pushing back about teaching their kids like basic skills before they get into pre-K and kindergarten. And I just felt strongly about it because I remember we went to school knowing how to read. We went to school knowing how to count. We went to school knowing how to understand what's the big deal. I feel so strongly about it because I feel like what I learned the most that helped me in life was from my parents. I don't think a teacher taught me anything that was more valuable than what my parents taught me. At times it's equal. Of course, I have a career, so of course I learned things in school, especially in college. I learned stuff in university, but how I navigate as a person and socially and how I succeed in my job and how I get so many compliments about how I handle myself to be 29 and at a big company working as human resources, which is a lot, is from what I was taught as a child. I learned professionalism from my parents. I learned how to deal with conflict resolution from my parents. So all the things and all the tools I really need to put me to the next level that the school couldn't necessarily teach me, or they might have had a, 30-minute networking seminar on, is from my parents. So I just feel like parents, you have a job to do. You have to do it if you want your kids to succeed. If you want a child that's going to do well, going to have a career, that's not going to be working job to job, that's not constantly getting fired. And that's another thing too. A lot of these people cannot keep jobs just because of the lessons that they have not been taught. It should be taught. Punctuality is something that you should teach your child. Absolutely. Not to steal, not to be a degenerate. It's something that you should teach your child. And those are things that your parents have to teach you in order for you to succeed to the next level. So I just wanted to address that too. It's just so many lessons that go untaught, and then people cannot succeed in this life.
I will say, parents are the first teachers. I do agree with you with that. However, I do feel like, since the school system has the kids for 18 years and 8 hours or 7 hours a day, every day, Monday through Friday, it's okay to put a soft skills curriculum in place where we work with kids on showing up,
Mhm.
being respectful.
But think about it. If your mom is always late, y'all always late to school every single day, how are you gonna really learn being on time? If
Ooh,
your mom
you're
is
right.
cussing people out every day, you think that's normal. That's now your environment, seeing her cuss everybody out. Or your dad. Your dad's never around, your dad's never showing up, your dad does not get involved. You think that's okay because those are the people that's really influential. Yes, I agree that 8 hours a day, Monday through Friday, is a lot, but I never saw my teacher on a higher level than I saw my mom and dad. That's just what it is. I can tell you from I'm 30, so I am far removed from being a child, but 18 was 12 years ago. And I remember that, yes, I respected my teachers, but that's because my parents taught me to. And yes, I showed up on time, but that's because my parents taught to me. Daddy is very timely, he's very punctual. He was always stressing about time. So now I'm very punctual. You were very good at calming people down, and the when somebody goes at you crazy, you know how to get them together without cussing them out. I learned that from you. Like, those are the lessons that I use every day. And I did not learn that from my teachers. Like, I had great, amazing teachers. There's no shade to teachers, but everything I use on a daily basis is what my parents raised me to be.
Right. But and I agree with you on all fronts. Here's the thing though. If we want kids to graduate as productive citizens in society, we have to pick up the slack. And I know I hear a lot of teachers say, I'm not a parent to those kids, but guess what? Second line of defense. So if you see a kid not being respectful or modeling good behavior, you pull them over. Let's talk about this. Let's talk about what we're gonna move like, right? So let's talk about why we are moving this way and how it's gonna help you later. So if it didn't happen in the home environment, it still needs to happen because you want kids to
Right. Correct.
graduate as productive citizens. So you're gonna have to put things in place like soft skills curriculum to make sure that that occurs, and you have to model it every single day. And it is kind of hard to combat everything that a kid has been through when they weren't with you, but it's not impossible. And the only way it can happen is to have that like the collective teacher efficacy where we all believe what we do matters. And if we all believe what we do matters and we all put, effort toward changing those behaviors so that those students can be successful, and we show them where, here's a kid who was off the rails when they first came in school, and now here they are making six figures at Delta or wherever. And here are the things that they did in school to change that. When they can see that it's possible, because sometimes what kids need is hope as well. Like you're
Yeah,
saying, if they don't see it anywhere else, they have to see it somewhere and get that hope. And so then the responsibility will shift to the school. And it does drain teachers and cause a lot of burnout when a lot of that responsibility has been shifted to them. However, why are we here? To make sure that we have successful adults one day, and you want to be proud of the kids that you taught, and you want to see them soaring and doing well. And so you have to pour into them. And back to our last episode on social battery, it might drain your battery a little bit.
right.
Find a way to recharge, find a place to recharge, because you are who they're looking to now for hope, and you got to do all you can to provide it. But you got to show them that I believe you can change this and turn this around, because if you don't show them that you believe in them, then things will continue the way they are, and they won't have the hope that they need
I do
to
think it
succeed.
is important to let them know, though, you cannot save everybody, especially if it's not your child.
You
You
gotta
can do
try it. And in
yeah, you can try,
education, you gotta try it, 'cause what
but
else are we doing besides trying to build resilient kids and successful adults? So, 'cause you want them to be participating citizens, right? These are the people who are gonna be taking care of you when you grow old, so you wanna make sure they have all the tools that they need, no matter where the tools start. If it started as soon as they entered school, so be it. Let's figure out how to make sure they have them. I am in a job where I have to that has to be the mindset, otherwise, what are we doing, you know?
yeah, I agree that's the mindset, but I do know, like, there's just a point where you have to just let it go, or you could do more damage than good.
Well, not between the hours of 8 and or 7 and 4, like, you gotta give it all
Right,
you got.
right, during
Yeah,
school
you got
hours,
to.
yeah. Yeah,
Now
you need to
you can
give it
go
your
home and decompress and unwind and disconnect. That's absolutely okay, because teachers have to take care of themselves too. Actually, I was able to go to a book signing yesterday of a friend of mine who wrote a book about teachers taking care of themselves, and I wish I had it beside me so I can kinda show it, and I plan to read it. I didn't get a chance to read it today, I just got the book yesterday, but I am gonna try to read it next weekend when we're traveling, to graduations. I wanna take some time to read it, because she's absolutely right. Like, you gotta take care of yourself. You matter, and I know I'm switching topics a little bit, but for the teachers who do work so hard to try to take care of kids, at some point they do need to disconnect for a second
right,
and
that's all I'm saying too,
recharge
yeah.
their battery, because
Mhm,
if you're not healthy and you're not whole, it's hard to provide healthiness and wholeness for another. So
yeah.
shout out to Vet Dixon for writing her book. And
Congratulations.
yeah, Dr. Ledford, Yvette Dixon Ledford. I think I'm saying that right. So congratulations to her. And she's absolutely right. You gotta disconnect
Yeah,
and recharge. And I can't wait to read it. I can't wait to read it, because but between the hours of 7 and 4, we got to have that collective efficacy that what we do matter, and we can change the lives of kids, and we can provide the resilience that they might be missing. So building resilient kids, I still say, critical, so that when bullying is really happening, we can respond appropriately and do something about it before it goes too far.
yeah, and it's a collective effort, but I think more of the responsibility is on the parents, is all I'm saying too. I think the teachers can give it their all between, like you said, the hours of 7 to 4, but as much as we wanna save people, we need the parents to step in and do what they're supposed to do as well.
And if they
Yeah,
don't, then
yeah.
let's go back to mentors and role models like we talked about last season. Maybe there can be a mentor or a role model outside of school in the community who can
And
step up.
maybe parents can take the self-awareness and accountability to realize when they need a mentor and they need a role model to do better at what they have to do. It's not a
Absolutely.
it is a requirement to parent your children. So please, we just need people to do that. Cause
Yeah,
it
but if they don't, Brandy, we don't want a cycle of the same, right? Somewhere this generational cycle will have to be broken, and it's gonna take a brave citizen who may not be the parent to help do that. Yes, parents should be accountable. Yes, parents should be engaged. Yes, they should learn or work hard to build resilient kids. But what if they don't? Then we don't want the same thing over and over and over again, because you keep getting the same kid who has the same issue next generation, next generation, next generation. So
Well, what
who
I'm
steps
saying
in
is
and break it?
when
So
they
at some point, people from the community will have to step up and be a village. Sometimes that has I've seen kids go far and they may not have had the best home life, but they had a village and they used that village and they succeeded anyway. So I think the odds can be beat, but it's gonna take everybody knowing what to do, how to help, and who you gonna tag off to. Like after they leave school, who are we tagging?
disagreeing with that. I'm just saying, like, it really is on the parents to do this. I'm speaking to those that just feel like, hey, I send my child to school. That's all I got to do. Like, that's just not all you have to do. And I understand what you're saying, but there is a point where nobody cares, and I'm telling that as somebody who hires and fires people. At that point, I don't care. We're not gonna be your village if you're not gonna do, because we pay you to do a certain job now. So we don't sit around, think about how we can change you and beat the cycle. No, we go find somebody who can do what we need to be told.
And
So
see,
then
we
it's
thinking about it from 2 different
right,
perspectives. Because 'cause I'm
and
thinking
that's
about
why
it
I'm
from
giving it
the kid that we have from at 7 to 4. If we fill in when we can and we tag a community person, then you don't get the person that you having to do that way as an adult. That's what I'm saying. At some point, somebody will have to step in to end the cycle, or you will keep getting adults on the job that you have to have those coaching conversations with or fire because they just can't do the soft skills. They can't show up on time. They can't not cuss people out at work and do so somewhere it has to end or you will keep getting those types of employees is what I'm
yeah,
saying. And if
and
we see them
I
first, then the
think
onus is gonna be upon us to make sure they're employable, right? Those employability skills might need to start at home, but if they don't, then at some point we do have to make sure they're college or career ready. So then the onus do fall upon the school. Otherwise, the cycle will never end. You're gonna keep getting employees like that. So somebody got to say, "Hey, we're gonna build resilient kids. We're gonna step in. We're gonna fill in the gap. We're gonna help these kids be successful."
the episode, we're really focusing on the parents, so that's what I'm saying too, like, the parents gotta do better too. Like, I don't
Well,
think
yeah, we're actually focusing on building resilient kids. Period. So whoever have contact with kids can participate in building resilient kids. Like it, hopefully the parent, because that's where the kids are usually at. But some kids are not with a parent. Some kids are with a grandparent. Some kids are with aunts. Some kids are with foster care. So but somebody has to understand what it takes to build a resilient kid and fill in the gap somewhere, or you will continue to get adults like you're talking about. Like, so it may take collective efficacy from the school level. It may take collective efficacy from the community level to support the parent or the adult who's seeing about the child. But it's going to take everybody who wants to be engaged in this work to do it so that you don't continue to have the same type of adult that you're talking about.
yeah, I know, we're saying the same things. I just feel like to the parents, I think it starts with you, and it'll trickle down to everybody else who wants to be involved and who comes in contact with the child, but I do think it starts at home
It
first.
absolutely starts at home, and I said that from the beginning, like, parents are the first teacher, but if it doesn't happen, then somebody still gotta step up, otherwise you never end the cycle of people feeling like the world is down on them, they're never able to, take personal accountability, just all the things, so
Yeah, I agree. I don't think it'll ever change, to be honest. It's just every day.
well, what a pessimistic personality you have.
Yeah. I mean, it's just the reality. Like, sometimes it's people are too far gone. I guess I'm speaking more to reality. Like, if it was that easy, then it wouldn't be a issue. But I don't forego it to see that every person can be saved, every person can be, helped. I just
But I feel like it's the onus upon all of us to put in the effort.
And I don't disagree with that. We can definitely put in the effort, but it's a topic I wanted to talk about. Like, when is enough is enough? When is too much? When is it like you just realize, like, hey, this person is too far gone? But the other thing I was going to get your opinion about was like, do you feel like people should be teaching their kids basic, like, you know, reading, colors, writing?
If they're equipped with the tools to do so. If not, then what we would need the most from them is, a listening vocabulary, help them with speaking and listening, counting. You could do that with singing and counting and playing games in the car like I Spy, like, just helping them close that vocabulary gap because the amount of words that they know coming into pre-K or kindergarten can absolutely affect their ability to learn to read quickly. So even if you don't teach them to read and write, at least do the basics. And there is a program called The Basics that teach parents how to interact with their children. And that's mostly what we need. We need interaction. Don't just put them in a corner on a tablet. Because you need them to hush. Let's sing songs. Let's play games. Let's count just basics. Let's look at shapes. If you don't teach them to read not one word, if you would at least give them a good listening vocabulary and help them with discussion, then we could take it from there.
Yeah. 'Cause I saw that discussion too as a about like, "Hey, why do I need to do this with my kids? I'm sending them to pre-K, I'm sending them to kindergarten." And I was just confused because I thought that was something that every parent would do, like, "Hey, let's do 1 through 10. Okay, let's take it to 1 through 20. What color is thi" even in the car, you ask your kid, "What color is this? Do you see a green car? Do you see a blue car?" So it's surprising to me that people are just pushing back about doing any type of, in my opinion, parenting.
I think people on social media push back on everything though. I mean, if I can get uh 20,000 people to retweet something crazy that I said, then yeah, I'm, I'm gonna say something crazy. So
They get $2.
$2 for saying something crazy. Yeah, true. Yeah. But anyway, I do feel like, this was a timely topic because, like you said, there's a lot going around on social media where people are quote unquote being mean. I wouldn't say bullying because you can't bully people on social media if you log off. But anyway, whatever is going on out there, it's a lot of it, and just being resilient. If they're saying something that's absolutely true about you, if they're calling you big eyes and your eyes are big, you know what? Own it and feel pretty with your big eyes, you know? So I want kids and adults to stop letting kids and adults make them feel any type of way about themselves. It's okay to talk to someone if you are mentally struggling with the he say, she say, and someone making you feel a type of way. Work with somebody to help you build your self esteem so that you can navigate situations and just stand in who you are and be okay with it.
Just don't want people to get it confused with constructive criticism and feedback that may help you adjust for the
Whole
better.
nother topic for a whole nother day. Cause calling
Yeah.
my eyes big, there's nothing constructive about that. They are.
Right.
And
Yeah.
what? Yeah.
I But if somebody tells you like, "Hey, you're coming across a little bit aggressive,"
Yeah,
I
that's a whole nother conversation because
I
to
do
me,
think that
that's not negative or that's not trying to make me, what did you say? What was the words you use instead of bullying? Peer
peer
pressure.
pressure.
Yeah, that's not peer pressure.
Yeah,
Like,
I agree,
yeah.
and I'm only saying that because it has come up where people do feel they're being attacked when they get constructive criticism, and I do think it should be another topic. It probably should
That's a
be
whole nother
when
how to take, give, and accept feedback. That is
right.
a whole nother conversation.
And
Absolutely.
and all I'm saying is don't get that confused with people picking on you, and people often do, so we have to talk about that too.
Another conversation for another day. Do you have anything that you're listening to?
Yeah, so I just started listening to this called "What You Said" by Isaiah Rashad, and, it features, Doechii and Carl Banks, I think, and it was really good, I like that song. I listened to his album, I think it came out maybe 4 or 5 years ago, but I haven't heard all the songs, and then that one came on my playlist when I did shuffle, and I was like, "Oh, I like this," so I replayed it a couple of times, and I would say check that out if you're looking for some different vibes of rap music.
Okay. Well, we are on season 2 of Fatal Seduction on Netflix. Still a good watch. It's still mysterious and interesting, and the things that keep popping up. So if you have not watched that, check out season 1, and then there is a season 2 because we're in that right now. But that's Fatal Seduction on Netflix. That's the black family out of South Africa that keeps up a whole lot of drama and a whole lot of suspense. So if you have an opportunity to watch that, check that out.
Alright, and did you have any, judging news?
I
Any
did not. How about you?
I thought you did. You said people asking you about your next steps?
Oh, I asked you, did you think that was a judging you since it didn't have anything to do with the podcast?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the questions don't have anything to do with the podcast.
Well, some things we talked about, like travel, like we had a whole show on travel and we got questions about that, so I wasn't sure. Yeah, I was asked about what am I doing next. I don't know. So maybe on the next podcast I'll have an answer, but right now I'm just gonna tell you I don't know. Whatever it is, I do want to still do the work necessary to create equity and inclusion for our kids. Just making sure that everybody have access to the resources that's going to help them be successful. A lot of things is about mindset shift, and I do believe my mindset is always going to be to try to close any gaps that's existing. Um, Anything that I can do for a child, whether people know it or not, and it doesn't have to be loud. It can be just as quiet, but anything that I can do to help them succeed, I will. So whatever I do next, I still want to continue in that vein, supporting the adults who support the kids or directly supporting the kids, whatever that looks like. So we'll see.
Yeah. Okay, well, I mean, it sounds like you wanna still stay in education, so that does
Yeah.
answer your question.
Yeah, I think I talked about it on one of the episodes when I talked to the TRS lady. Maybe that was not the last one, but the one before that. What did we do, before the last episode? What was our show just about last week? I can't remember. Why don't I remember? It just happened.
Last week was I don't think you talked about that last week.
What did we talk about last week? Do you remember?
Yeah, I mean, I remember, I'm just drawing a blank now.
I was gonna say if I can remember what we talked about last week, I could tell you what I said. But I did
Gender
mention.
roles is what we talked about.
Oh, uh-huh.
Gender role, but
Yeah,
you
I
did
did mention, next steps on general. I talked to TRS and it was too costly
okay,
to to buy years. So I was like, "Yeah, I'm not doing that." As a matter of fact, I said, "I'm just gonna go on and do this time," and I said it as if it was like a prison sentence. Anyway, I said that on show before last or whatever.
yeah. Well, I like I said, it does answer a question that you're gonna stay in education, so some people would not know what TRS is.
Retirement. Yeah. Okay. Well, that wraps up another episode of We Listen and We Judge. Thank you everybody for joining us. If you have any feedback on today's episode, or if you want to tell us what you think would help build resilient kids so that in their adulthood they have that same resiliency, hit us up.
Make sure you tune in on YouTube. Episodes drop Friday at 9 a.m. You can check us out on TikTok as well, where we have clips, Instagram, and we do post some things to Facebook. But don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. We listen and we judge podcasts.